Okay, so this is learning target 9, construct a linear equation given 2 coordinate points. So we start off with our linear equation. We know that that's y equals mx plus b. And this is when we're given any 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2. So our slope is then the changes y's over the changing in x. So what we normally do is we normally label this, right? x1, y1, x2, y2. And then so what I would do is I would put my y2 first minus my y1 all over my x2 over my x1. And then I would just solve. So 5 minus 3 is 2. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So that would be my slope. Another thing that you can do, it doesn't really matter which one you call, because this could have been the first one and then it would be switched. It doesn't really matter which one you put where as long as they're consistent. So you could have done, as long as it's the y's minus x. If I choose this y first, I have to choose this x first. So I could have also done 3 minus 5 all over 1 minus a negative 2. 3 minus 5 is a negative 2. 1 minus a negative 2 is a positive 3. I get the same thing. The negative just switches. It doesn't really matter. Another way you could have done this, like we practiced with our xy, my x's here are 1 and then negative 2. The y's that go with it are 3 and 5. To get from 1 to negative 2, I have to go to 0, so I'm doing plus 3. I'm doing minus 3. That was silly. I'm doing minus 3. To get from 3 to 5, I'm doing plus 2. It's change in y over my change in x. So that's all different ways we can do it, but we're just using 2 points. So then from those 2 points, we get only our slope. We now need to find our y-intercept. So the only thing that we have to do then is we would write that. So now we have y equals negative 2/3 x plus b. We pick either point, whichever one you like, and you just plug it in. So I'm going to show you both. So I'm going to first do this point plugging in. So I will then do this in red. So this is going to be red. So then my y is now a 3, so I plug in a 3 for y. I still have negative 2/3. My x is a 1 plus b. So then negative 2/3 times 1 is still negative 2/3. So I have 3 equals negative 2/3 plus b. I then have to add 2/3. Add 2/3. So then I would get 3 and 2/3, which is the same thing as 11/3. So my b equals 11/3. So then my equation would be y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 11/3. If I were to plug in the other point, which I guess I will do in green, and then I'll erase this and I'll put that one up here. So this one's going to be in green. Here's the green one that I'm going to do. So again, I start off with y equals negative 2/3 x plus b. I'm going to plug in now my 5, negative 2/3, my negative 2 plus b. Remember, when we multiply fractions, this is the same thing as being over 1. So negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4 over 3 plus b. I now have to subtract this. It's a minus. Those will cancel. So I'll get b equals 5 minus 4/3, and I have to make this have a common denominator, so this would be 15 over 3 minus 4 over 3, which gives me 11 over 3b to equal b. So again, that would give me that same equation. All right, so here are some of our special cases. So I'm going to do the same thing. It doesn't matter which one you pick. I'm just going to go with the regular thing where we're calling this y2. But again, as you saw, it didn't matter. So if I'm going to go with this one first, I'm going to get 1 minus 7 over 0 minus 2. 1 minus 7 is a negative 6. 0 minus 2 is a negative 2. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 is a positive 3. Again, if I show you it doing it the other way, you would have a 7 minus 1 and a negative 2 minus, just kidding, not a negative 2. A 2 minus 0, and this would give you a positive 6 over 3, which is still just 3. It doesn't matter which order you take it as long as you use the same if I'm going to pick this 7 first, I have to use this 2 first. So that would be my M. These are my M. So then my B. This one is kind of special in the easy sense. My y-intercept is always where my x is 0. Look at that. That is where my x is 0. So I don't even have to plug in. This is an easy problem. It tells me right here my y-intercept. So I already have y equals 3x. My y-intercept is a +1. If you didn't catch on to that, you can still just plug that in, right? I can take that point. So I have y equals 3x plus b. If I plug in this point, I'm plugging in my 1 for my y and my 0 for my x. So then I get 1 equals b, which would then give me that same equation. It would still work if I did this one. This is an easier way to see. Oh, they give me a 0 in my x spot. So my y, there's my y-intercept. So let's go to this one. I'm going to pick this one first. Here's what I'm calling my y2. That's my y2, then that's my x2. And I'm minusing. Then this is my y1, and that's my x1. So 8 minus 12 is a -4, and then 3 minus 3 is 0. So now I have -4 over 0, which is the same thing as -4 divided by 0. We cannot do this. When a 0 is on the bottom, when you're dividing by 0, it is undefined. When you type that in your calculator, I don't even know if I can get calculator up here already. Hold on. Selection. Calculator. So ready? I have 4 divided by 0. Not a number. So then, this is going to tell me that my slope is undefined. Wow, that doesn't show up very well on Mimeopad. Anyway, so then I'm looking at this, and I notice that these are both 3s. That's why I got 0 on my x's. So all I'm thinking of is a line. Remember, my undefined lines are lines that are straight up and down. Because this is when Slope Dude falls down the mountain, he screams the worst curse, whatever, undefined. So that's my straight line. So that's where my x equals something. In this case, it's where my x is always 3. My x is always 3. So here you might be able to see this one already. So I'm going to have my 10 minus my 10 all over 9 minus 4. So I'm going to get 0 over 5. So now my thing is, can I do 0 over 5? I think so. 0 divided by 5. That's just 0. So here I am getting a slope of 0. And if you remember what Slope Dude says, this is 0 fun when you're going straight across the mountain. So that's going to be a y equals line. And if I look here, my y is always 10. Oop, my battery's about to die. I was saying y is 10. Luckily for me, all you have to do is find the equation of a line that passes through points 2, 6 and -2, 4. And that's it. Okay.